Welcome back to the Toast MMA YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to be giving you guys the follow-up video to my first video, my favorite fighters in each UFC division, and be giving you guys my least favorite fighters in each UFC division. I know I'm going to turn some heads with some of these picks here, and I quite frankly do not care. I'll dislike who I want to dislike, and if you disagree, you're entirely wrong. So, moving on to the video. Now, before I get into the pick for FlyWeight, I want to say that it would be Muhammad Mokaev if he didn't get cut from the UFC for being so boring. So, since it can't be Muhammad Mokaev, we're going to be going with Manel Kape. Now, Manel Kape talks a lot of shit and then does some of the things that he talks shit about. In his fight against Kai Kara-France, or his scheduled fight against Kai Kara-France, Kai Kara-France had to pull out due to concussion, and Manel Kape, during the press conference for the card, was going crazy, calling Kai Kara-France a disgrace to his own bloodline, things like that, and then immediately the fight after, missed weight and got his fight canceled. I don't care if he agreed to fight overweight. That's not the point. He's the reason why the fight got canceled. His opponent didn't want to fight because he got a weight in overweight. Come in on weight. Don't talk shit and then do that. Moving on to bantamweight. Now, for the fighter I picked for this division, I mentioned in my favorite fighters video that I actually kind of liked this fighter a little bit, and I kind of still do. I just think I don't really dislike many fighters in bantamweight currently, but I think out of all of them, my least favorite currently is Chito Vera. Now, Chito Vera is a fighter who I think he's a pretty fluky fighter. He's built his career off of old men. He won off of Sean O'Malley. He got that fluke KO off of Sean O'Malley. Obviously a fluke considering their rematch. Got controlled by Jose Aldo. And then went on a fluke of KOing old men. He beat Frankie Edgar, who was controlling him entirely until the finish. Fought Rob Font, who was beating him on the feet. But Rob Font's chin was not built to take Chito Vera's power. And Chito Vera just has a granite chin and insane face genetics. He has like zero. The first cut he ever got was against Sean O'Malley, which is insane. And then he fought Dominic Cruz, who was beating him before the KO as well. So Chito Vera, very fluky, built his career off of old men, and then when fighting Corey Sandhagen, did just nothing. Like, he just didn't do anything at all. Even in the 5th round, when he was clearly losing, had no urgency at all. And then, obviously, the Sean O'Malley loss, and then lost to Figueiredo. Had a pretty boring fight against Pedro Munoz, too. I think that was a late notice replacement. But, yeah, Chito Vera, not the most exciting anymore. I think his stock's died down. Kind of reminds me of, like, a bantamweight Nate Diaz. Like, it's just the way he talks. And, like, his highlights are what make him popular. But I don't think he's that good anymore. I think until he starts, like, actually throwing and offensively striking and just stops, like, plotting at people and just staring at them, I don't think he's ever going to get over the hump. I don't think he'll ever be champion ever. Anyways, moving on to featherweight. Now, I think I alluded to who the fighter is going to be here in featherweight, and it's Aljamain Poopstain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling has had one of the flukiest careers in the UFC. Now, I am one of the opinion that when he disqualified Petr Yan for the illegal knee, I don't find that to be the worst thing ever, as Yan did an illegal thing, so I don't think him being disqualified was a bad thing. He was obviously losing the fight, which is what got people mad, but it's what Aljamain did after, parading around as if he won the belt, like by winning it, like by beating Petr Yan. I think he should have waited until after he had won the rematch. A controversial win. I'm not going to go into that one. That one's a bit more one of his more decent wins. But then from there, it gets worse. His fight against TJ Dillashaw took 2 rounds to finish TJ Dillashaw with one arm, who was trying to repop his arm in the entire fight. Fights Henry Cejudo on his fucking knees like the little bitch he is, just ducking his head around, abusing the can't harm ground opponents rule. Cannot wait for that rule to be changed and Aljamain Sterling to get shit on. And then got KO'd by Sean O'Malley. And one thing I did like about him is that he said win or loss, he was moving up to featherweight no matter what. Then he lost to Sean O'Malley and was trying to call for a rematch. Don't try and call for a rematch after you lost. You said you were going to move up. And then he got forced to move up. And then for UFC 300, when the 300K bonuses got revealed, Aljamain Sterling was flailing his arms around like, oh, I'm going to get a bonus. Oh, I'm going to get a bonus. And then proceeded to have the most boring fight in the entire card by a mile. Now, is this perpetrated by I bet he beat Calvin Kattar? A little bit. But still, he's boring. I think he complained about jiu-jitsu and butt scooting in jiu-jitsu. He participated in a jiu-jitsu tournament once. Complained about butt scooting. You literally abuse sitting on your knees like a little bitch in your own fights. Stop talking. Uh, Now, I can't support him against Movsar Evloev. Evloev honestly should be on here. He's probably, like, him and Aljo are tied. Movsar Evloev is a weirdo. Married his wife at 17 years old when he was, like, 24. Knew her for a week. I don't want to get into that whole thing. But Aljamain, the poop stain, Sterling is my pick for featherweight. Now, this one might get a couple heads turned for me, but my pick for lightweight, Arman Tsarukyan. Now, this isn't for like country reasons. I know that like whatever I just like the fighters, man. I'm not too big on like their whole fucking home lives and their countries and everything. I know that Armin's country and Fiziev's country, they have like a beef going on, but I don't think they as fighters like dislike each other. I just don't like Armin because he's boring and he tries so hard to be cool. It's so dumb. He does interviews like with sunglasses on, shirtless by a pool. Like, you're not Andrew Tate, bro. Like, just chill out. Has boring ass fights. His one exciting fight is against Gamrot, and he got fucking beat by Gamrot. People call that a robbery, but Armin cheated so many times in that fight anyways. So you can call for a point being deducted, and then he loses that fight anyways. But Armin is boring as hell. Won a fight against Charles Oliveira by actually laying on him. Charles Oliveira had every exciting moment in that fight. You can't find a single highlight except for Armin like landing a axe kick and he pushed like Charles' nose with it. Armin stinks. He's gonna lose to Islam. He's gonna get his ass beat. He's shown more aggression with punching fans than he has actual fighters in the UFC. So yeah, my pick is Arman Tsarukyan. Now for welterweight, this guy I haven't liked for a very long time, and I think a lot of people dislike him, but he also has a very big cult following. So I think this is another reason why I'll get some comments about this. Colby Covington. Colby Covington talks so much shit for being one of the most boring fighters of all time. He is known for losing to Usman twice. He smudged over Jorge Masvidal for a whole fucking 5 rounds. The one highlight of that fight is getting knocked down and kissing him at one point. There's a funny gif of it looks like Colby and Jorge are kissing. I like to think that they're actually secret gay lovers. That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, then he talked shit about Leon's dad. I don't even care the context of that or anything, who Leon's dad is, and then does nothing. I don't care if you broke your foot. I've seen other people break other bones and do better. He's just a bum. And he doesn't fight either. He doesn't fight very frequently. I don't know why people like him. The only fights he's had that are fun are the Usman fights. I don't think any Colby Covington fan has actually seen all of his fights because they're all boring. He's the only fighter that went close with RDA. I think 48-47 against old man welterweight RDA. Meanwhile, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, 50-45ing him as they should. Won his belt off of his interim belt off of an aging Robbie Lawler, most pointless interim belt of all time. Yeah, Colby Covington is my pick for welterweight. Now, middleweight. I know I'm gonna get some shit for this one because everyone loves. I'd say the general consensus of this fighter has shifted a little bit, but I still think he has a lot of fans, especially with his upcoming fight coming up. Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is such a shit talker, and he fights once a year. And he pulls out fights all the time. I'm not scared of Khamzat Chimaev because if I sneeze on him, he'll immediately have to go to the hospital. His immune system can't take it for anything. I loved the memes of after every single fighter, Khamzat Chimaev, I see you soon, boy. I see you soon. And the thing is, I would like Khamzat Chimaev. His style is fun. I like his style. But after the Gilbert Burns fight, he thought he's hot shit and just kept pulling out of fights. Fucking was scared to fight Nate Diaz and just intentionally missed weight by 8 pounds. I do not like Khamzat Chimaev. I pray to God Robert Whittaker KOs him. I don't know if it'll happen. I think Khamzat will probably beat him. But this dude has, I remember coming into the Usman fight, he was being called the cardio king by his camp just for him to go crazy for 1 round and then gas. The only reason he won that fight, which I don't even think he should have been a draw, Usman himself said he didn't trust his cardio going into a late notice 3-round fight. This dude is ranked in middleweight off of a win, off of a short notice welterweight who hadn't fought in like a year, I think, and is battling constant injuries with no knees. Khamzat Chimaev's a bum. I'll sneeze on him, he'll die. That's what it is. Moving on. Now, light heavyweight, there's actually not a lot of fighters I dislike in light heavyweight. And I don't really dislike the fighter that's on light heavyweight that much, but I got to pick one, right? And that's Magomed Ankalaev. Now, the only reason I don't like Magomed Ankalaev is I think he thinks that he is a bigger star in the UFC than he actually is. He tries to call the shots a lot. I think him crying after the Jan Blachowicz fight was a little bit of a baby thing to do. Very close fight. I haven't rewatched that fight in a very long time, but my initial reaction was Jan won the first 3 rounds, and then Magomed won the 4th, and then 10-8'd him in the 5th round. So it was a draw. I will say there's literally no way Jan Blachowicz won that fight, but I do not think Magomed Ankalaev won the fight either. I think it was a draw. Magomed Ankalaev cried, acted like he won. And I think you deserve to go to a draw if you are getting your legs torn apart for 3 rounds and decide to wrestle in the 4th round. And then should have got DQ'd against Johnny Walker. Not sure why it was a no contest. He clearly illegally kneed Johnny Walker. Should have been a disqualification. And then his only win is Johnny Walker, and he's demanding for a title shot. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a title shot. He absolutely does. There's no one else in the division who deserves it more than he does. But he's crying for it a bit too much. And I think people are claiming that Alex Pereira is ducking him. I don't think Alex Pereira is ducking anyone. I think that UFC may be protecting Alex Pereira from Ankalaev because they think it's a bad matchup for him. But I do not think that Alex Pereira is ducking him. He's trying to call the shots, wants to fight in Abu Dhabi. No, dude. You don't deserve like the home field advantage against Alex Pereira, the face of the UFC. Good luck, buddy. And then moving on to the last division. The last division, now, I could go with an easy answer here with John Jones. Everyone dislikes John Jones right now, but I'm going to try and not do that. And I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane. Now, I dislike this guy mostly because he has so much wasted potential. When he was initially going on his run in the UFC, beating Derek Lewis and then losing to Ngannou, which a fight you can arguably give to him because the only thing significant that happened in the 5th round was his heel hook attempt. Anyways, I'm not going to harbor too much on that. Post the Ngannou fight, post the Jones fight where he got subbed in under 5 minutes, actually insane. Prepare a bit more, buddy. He just isn't trying anymore. He doesn't actually care about MMA as a sport. He was ducking Tom Aspinall for the longest time until Tom Aspinall won the interim belt and then he wanted a title fight. But then, when offered a title fight, went to go record a movie instead. This dude, I just think that if he actually was fully committed to the sport, could be a champion. I think he could be a UFC champion if he full-on committed to the MMA. I hope that Volkov beats him in the rematch because I don't want to see Ciryl Gane go fight Aspinall, get taken down and subbed in 2 minutes. Now, it's not to say the same thing would happen to Volkov. I just think Volkov actually cares about MMA as a sport and wants to further himself and get better. So, yeah, those are my least favorite fighters in each division of the UFC. Tell me in the comments who your least favorite fighter in the UFC is in each division. Maybe some opinions on some of the fighters I have. And yeah, Toast MMA signing out.